It's visually hard to see here, so let's reorganize these traces into a grid, also called a keyboard matrix, with the bottom traces forming the columns and the top traces forming the rows. Just as before, the microprocessor outputs 3 volts along each column, while actively monitoring the inputs along each row. With this reorganization, you can more easily see that as you press the Y key, 3 volts is sent out along the 4th column and returned along the 2nd row, and thus the processor can tell that the Y key was pressed. Or with the B key, 3 volts is output along the 8th column and input through the 1st row. With 11 columns and 12 rows, we can have a maximum of 132 keys, which works out well because the keyboard only has 111 keys. However, if you haven't noticed, there's actually a major problem with this keyboard matrix. That is, if we have 3 volts running along all these columns and we press a key, 3 volts will return along a row. However, because each of these columns output the same 3 volts, how do we know which key in the row was pressed? One solution is to quickly scan 3 volts along each of the 11 columns, so that at any given time only one column is active. By correlating the active column with when voltage is received on the input row, we can determine the exact intersection of column and row and thus which key is pressed. However, with this solution, we're continuously scanning 3 volts across the columns, which takes power, thereby draining the batteries.